Good morning. Today Ivan and I are going to Koh Larn. I somehow managed to talk him into coming with me. It took a lot of effort on my part. I can't go alone because it's unsafe there because of the Indians. Ivan and I are already set to go to Koh Larn. You should have seen how Ivan jumped from the stairs onto the pier. That was really something. To get the best seats, he was running as fast as he could. Ivan and I sat right next to the driver. We've arrived at Koh Larn. Look at how beautiful the water is here today. Of course, Ivan and I, as always, came to eat first thing. We only eat Thai food on Koh Larn. In other places, it's just not tasty. Ivan and I have already returned home from the island. I didn't show you much because you've already seen the trip to the island many times. Soon it's our Orthodox holiday, which is called Easter. Naturally, by tradition, I need an Easter cake. But in Pattaya, there's a problem with that since we're in a Buddhist country, not a Christian one. You can't just buy Easter cakes here. There are Russians who sell them, but they sell Lenten Easter cakes. Lenten cakes in Slavic countries. People bake them at home or buy them. They're very cheap. They cost less than $1 to go and take them to church and leave them there. Because people who can't afford it, or people in a difficult life situation, can come to church and take this cake and celebrate this holiday along with all the other Christians. Usually this cake consists of a simple sponge with raisins or dried fruits inside, and it's covered with white icing on top. It's not that tasty because it's made from the most basic ingredients. But we like chocolate ones, or with boiled condensed milk, chocolate chips, and so on, with different creams inside. But for some reason, Russians here don't bake them. They try to make a regular Lenten cake and sell it for a lot of money, from $10. For that kind of money in Moscow, you could buy a cake that would be covered in edible gold. And they're trying to sell cakes that are usually given away for free. Very strange people. I don't have an oven at home, so I've decided to make an experimental Easter cake in the microwave now. I know how to make a mug cake in the microwave, and I'll try to make an Easter cake using the same principle now. And if I succeed today, I'll buy all the ingredients I need for different fillings, and I'll make various cakes for the holiday and go to church with them to have them blessed. And I also want to bake a regular Lenten cake and leave it at the church. But I don't think anyone here might need it because not many Russians live here or Christians in general. Especially since Europeans have a different holiday because they're Catholic and we're Orthodox, so it's all on different dates for us. The kulich should be phallic shaped, so making it in a bowl won't work. Apparently, I'll have to make it in a mug and they'll be small. If it works out now, I want to experiment and make one with Dubai chocolate flavor. If my mom or grandma heard this, they'd say I'm being blasphemous and mocking. Of course, I'm not seriously going to take a Dubai chocolate-flavored kulich to church. I just want to bake it out of curiosity. I'll take normal kuliches with our traditional fillings to the church. I'm taking 3 eggs, then 70 grams of butter, 5 tablespoons of milk, 4 tablespoons of sugar, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, and 100 grams of flour. And you can add chocolate chips, candied fruits, raisins, or poppy seeds to the dough. I'll make it with chocolate chips. I'll add a little more vanilla extract. If you're baking it in the oven, after all, it should bake for 25 minutes at 180 degrees. Don't open the oven immediately after it's done. The kulich must cool down completely so it doesn't collapse, and then you can take it out. And you can make a marshmallow topping, but it's traditional to use regular white icing. Now I'm taking Ivan's mug. I need to grease it a bit with oil. I have oil spray, it's very convenient. And I'm pouring this whole mixture into the mug. I had less than 100 grams of flour. The batter turned out very runny, so I'm worried if it'll work, but I don't have any more flour at home. I'm basically making it with whatever I have. If you're wondering why I'm using Ivan's mug, I'm afraid mine might explode. He just doesn't care which mug he drinks from. But I care a lot. I'm only used to mine. I consulted with Google. It's best to set the microwave to maximum power and bake for 5 to 6 minutes. I see that it's rising a lot. I hope it doesn't overflow now. Looking at it now, it's turning out very fluffy. I'm curious if I'll be able to get it out of the mug and what the texture will be like. Will it be too moist? While I wait, the aroma has already filled the whole apartment. I wanted to make a marshmallow topping for the kulich, but this looks more like taffy than marshmallow. This is what Ivan bought, so I'll spread Nutella on top instead. We'll just pretend it's white icing. It's baked. For some reason it collapsed a bit at the end, but the sponge still turned out quite airy. Let's put our kulich on a plate. It's not coming out. It came out and it looks like this. It smells nice. Of course, it's better to bake it in the oven. Now I'll make a Nutella topping for it. Oh no, the Nutella was in the fridge and it's hardened. I know that in America they have sugar-free Nutella. Everyone in Russia is always asking to bring some back. Girls who are into sports, they order from their friends and acquaintances who fly to America. That's why you have so much of everything there. I ended up with a replica of a coulis. Let's imagine that this is white icing. Let's imagine it has a crispy crust, and let's imagine it has decorations on it. I suggest we try it. Let's cut it. I'm afraid that if I cut it now, it'll turn out to be liquid inside, raw and underbaked. Everything's fine inside. It's very soft. Van, come try the coulis. It turned out not bad. It doesn't taste much like a coulis, more like a muffin, but there's no other option. It's already very late, I need to go to Chanel. I'm editing a video for you and realized I completely forgot to tell you why I needed the Chanel boutique. The thing is, I have a Thai number and I never pick up the phone because no one can call me unless it's some ad. But in some completely accidental way, I answered the call and it was my consultant at Chanel. She said that since it was my birthday, they wanted to give me a gift from the boutique and for me to come to them for it. And I've arrived at Chanel and now they're going to present me with my gift. They're telling me to choose 3 pictures. I want to look at all the pictures now. I don't know what it's for, but you see there's all sorts of different animations here. It's unclear what these pictures are. A tree? Oh, there are birches here, Russian birches, so we're 100% choosing this one. It's unclear what the pictures are. Beautiful. This is some man. We'll take this man. What else should I choose? I don't even know. Well, a yacht, of course, the yacht. That's it. 3 pictures chosen. I'm sitting here in a place like this and waiting for something. Ivan doesn't want to sit down. He prefers to stand. Everything is taking so long. For some reason, my consultant isn't here today. They knew I was coming. I'm trying some perfumes. What if I don't like any of them? It's completely unclear why I was choosing and testing all this if she said she has none of it in stock. Only one thing. Anyway, they're going to give me perfume now. Perfume that I don't even like. In the end, I said, I don't need this perfume. I won't use it anyway. But they gave me a miniature version of it and something else. I said I wanted a limited edition set of burgundy brushes. This limited edition version came out back in February and I wanted it so badly, but these brushes were very expensive. But I begged for these brushes. Now I have them and they still gave me a miniature of that perfume. I'm glad I have the brushes now. Well, of course, she initially said, that's it, it was a limited collection, they're all sold out and so on. Well, obviously, if it were my consultant, she'd find it for me even when everything is truly sold out. But of course, everything was found, and now I have the brushes. I also wanted to tell you about the previous video that I recorded. Some people had an inappropriate reaction. They think that I'm complaining. I was just saying what surprises me. In Russia, there are very few foreigners, especially Europeans or Americans. And when I moved abroad, all of this was new to me. I'm not judging anyone. I'm just the kind of person who likes to compare and analyze everything. I find it very interesting. I'm interested in learning about our differences. I'm just sharing my feelings with you. But it's not in my nature to complain about anyone. I believe that there's no point in doing that. If I tell you about some differences, how it's done here and how you do it, it's just my interest, nothing more. Without a hint of judgment. I understand we're all different and I like sharing this with you because I read the comments later and you explained so much that I didn't know about your culture. For example, how things are done in America or in some other countries. But I'm that kind of person, I never complain. I might talk about some conflict situations just so you can learn from some of my mistakes or so you can see how other people might act. I'm just learning and trying to blend into the European atmosphere, the European community, because in the last 2 years, my life has changed dramatically, and I found myself among people from Europe and America. And some things naturally shock me, but I don't judge anyone. And there were comments saying that I elevate Russians above others. No, among Russians, there's a significant number of people who are just unbearable idiots with terrible actions. I know and understand all of that, but I'm only telling you about the society that surrounded me all my life and what I'm used to, so that you can also start to understand me better. To those people who don't like it, you can unsubscribe. I've already said there's no place for Russophobes on my channel. There are many different channels on YouTube. Watch them. I want to gather an audience, and I already have one, a fairly large one, of people who understand me despite us being from completely different cultures, and I love chatting with you in the comments. I really like it when you explain things to me or tell me your life stories. I really like analyzing it afterwards. Some people write to me that I'm very spoiled, arrogant, and self-centered. I grew up in a family where I was treated like a queen. They did everything for me and gave me their very last. I'm used to it, so I don't rule out that I might seem self-centered or spoiled to you, but of course, I don't see myself that way. I think if you consider me self-centered and spoiled, you haven't seen most Russian girls. Our women really are very self-centered and spoiled, with high self-esteem. I don't think that's a bad thing. We're used to being cared for in our families, with everyone running around us. When we grow up, men start doing the exact same thing. Most men actually like it. But of course, we also have women with very low self-esteem who don't love or value themselves. This causes them huge problems, and they choose husbands like that. Then they suffer from abusive relationships for the rest of their lives. If I had a daughter, I'd also spoil her in various ways so she'd have high self-esteem and never end up with an abuser. The kind of relationship you'll be in depends directly on your self-esteem. But then again, these are cultural differences. It might be different for you, but that's how it is for us. We live with this all our lives, and that's how we're raised. And that's normal, just as it's normal for you, how you're raised in your countries. I know many European girls who also have high self-esteem. They have very good husbands, and that's normal. It's better than some downtrodden girl who spends half her life in depression. I love myself very much, and I never hide it. I'm a pretty straightforward person. I can speak directly about my bad qualities, which I have like anyone else, and I accept them, as well as my good qualities. There's no such thing as perfect people. I just want to learn as much as possible about your culture. I never know where life will take me. Maybe one day I'll live in America or Europe, and I'll have to face the European or American community. So I want to know some cultural differences in advance, what I should be ready for, what I'll have to accept. It's very interesting. I'm just starting to get to know this world, so thank you for the stories you're sharing. If you have more to tell, definitely write to me about it. I'll be very interested to find out. You can also let me know, for example, what surprises you about Russian culture in particular, what you don't understand, and I can explain why people act or live that way. So if you're interested, don't hesitate to ask questions. Thanks to everyone for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe to my channel, and also support my channel on Boosty. The link will be in the description.